going on, everybody? I've been working hard on this thing. I have the exhaust completely ready to be welded. This is just the full exhaust, so I still have to make the titanium up pipe slash party pipe. That's pretty straightforward, should be. But this exhaust took a lot of time. It was really hard to fit 4 inches in the space that we needed to fit it in AO. But listen, not to my welder. Don't listen to that, because this thing is loud as hell, as I always say. One day, hopefully soon, maybe by sometime in November, once money starts coming in a little better, I really still want to get rid of this thing. I fucking hate this machine. So anyways, don't listen to that. You still need to work for the next 6 months. It was hard fitting 4-inch. I had a couple different things that I ran into. No fault to the guy who made the manifold, but you know, these are things that need to be taken into consideration when making manifolds. You know, what kind of exhaust or what size exhaust your customer is looking to use, because it does play a factor in how you package everything else. So, you know, as you can see, they opted to put a 50 millimeter turbo smart wastegate, and they're pretty big as it is. And this is about where I have to have it sit. I may have it come back a little bit more, but it's facing the firewall, facing the harness, facing the coolant lines, facing everything. So, you know, not ideal, but you know, I can work with it. It's tight, but I can work with it, sort of, I think. I still haven't made the dump pipe portion of this. I'm gonna be working on that today. That's going to be very tricky, but I have probably about 20 hours into just getting the downpipe fit up, welded, and making sure it's going to work the rest of the way. Because for those of you who don't do this stuff or are looking to do this kind of stuff, when you make a downpipe like this, it's easy to get ahead of yourself and, you know, just start making your way down. Once you get past the hard, shitty parts, you know, like I had to go up and over this 5th runner, but I have to make a straight 90 down to avoid the coolant line and try to stay off the firewall. And there is that little AC drip line right there that the downpipe does not make contact with. So there's a lot of pieces in this that you have to avoid. And again, the 4 inches was non-negotiable. I tried talking Mike out of it probably about a year ago when we talked about this. 4 inches is okay, but it's probably about a 1/2 inch too big for what we really need. In terms of power goal, what this turbo comes with. So, you know, this turbo, again, is a 6466. So it has a 2.5 inch factory outlet, a 3 inch exhaust outlet on the rear. So they don't make that stuff purposely choked up. So, you know, the idea is that you want to have the right amount of back pressure that pulls the exhaust gases out of the turbo efficiently, and you want to have the right turbo outlet size so that that compressed charged air isn't getting lost in the sauce. If you put that into, just say we did like 3.5 inch intercooler piping, you lose a lot of charge velocity by opening up to such a big diameter. So the same can be said about opening up to too large of a diameter on the back end. So what could potentially happen, which I don't see happening, but what could potentially happen is you could have not enough back pressure. Now I think with the amount of output that the 50 mil wastegate is going to put in, and granted I can't go into the downpipe as clean as I would like. It's still going to be cleaner than most and way cleaner than what was on there before. But I really would have liked to be able to do a nice silhouette down into the downpipe and really make it flow smoothly and evenly. But unfortunately, with the way that this is, it's pretty much going to have to come out of the wastegate, go down, and then it's going to have to 90. So let me just put this together real quick. It's going to have to do something like this. So the top part is going to go into the wastegate, and then it's going to chop itself into the downpipe and dump in. Like I said, very minimal packaging. Can't even put a flex bellow on that, which is really what you want to do when you're recirculating wastegates. So other than that, let's try to give you guys a look. I'm sorry I don't have a lift, but The straight tip is what he wanted. The straight tip is what he got. I did personally like the angled tip. When you did get it on, though, it looked a little weird, but I did like it more. But it does look good. I like the way this came out. I will say, compared to 3 years ago was my first project. I did my own personal Supra, and I did 3.5-inch intercooler piping on my Supra. And 3.5-inch exhaust and 3-inch intercooler piping, so a half-inch smaller. But man, this came out way better, and I'm really jealous. So before my car ends up getting back on the road, I really do want to redo a couple things if I can, if I have enough spare material and can justify it. You know, no fault to myself. It was my first project. I didn't know, and you know, I just wanted to get the hands-on experience. But plenty of people would probably be really excited about the stuff on my Supra. But now that I've been doing it for a little bit, there's a lot of stuff that I want to redo. So anyways, here is how it fits up in the back here. So it loops perfectly underneath the cross section here. This is the rear cradle. And there's 2 little cutouts on either side, obviously, for JDM and USDM models. So I have one V-band, as you can see right there. And then I have another V-band at the end of the downpipe. So the mid-pipe section is one whole unit. So from this rear V-band to the front V-band all the way down there is one section. So you have the muffler section, you have the muffler section, you have the mid-pipe, and then you have the downpipe. So 3 sections. Fairly easy. If you get stuck in a pinch, you got to take it off. You don't need a ton of tools. You don't need to do a bunch of crazy shit. Should just go right back up. So yeah, I'm gonna get this thing taken off now. I'm gonna weld it in sections. I'm gonna cut the hole for the downpipe and like fit the bottom elbow in, and then I'll have to work with the top half of the wastegate dump when it's in the car and on it, because what I'm gonna have to do is, once I have the bottom part of the dump cut properly, tacked and welded to the downpipe, I don't have to worry about that part moving. The reason why this downpipe dump is tricky, because there's a very tight gap, very small clearance, and it needs to fit up exactly true. So given that there's no flex bellow, there's no way to move it, so it has to be exactly true. And that could be the case when you cut it and tack it and get it all positioned, but you know, there's a lot more to welding than just welding and cutting the stuff and putting it together. So you know, you need to make sure that the fit up is right so that it doesn't pull one way or another when you weld it. When you weld it, you need to concentrate your heat. You need to make sure that you're not putting too much heat, but you're also getting the right amount of penetration. So it's really easy to do something like that and not tack it properly, or not let it cool long enough, or you know, there's just a lot of variables to it, but you could really mess yourself up, and I don't have any extra materials, so I need to get this right. So I'm gonna get this welded, I'm gonna get this taken off, I'm gonna get it welded up, and then I'm gonna refit it back on the car. It should fit fine. I don't have any like crazy tight areas that I have to worry about. I mean, the whole thing's tight, but like, I don't have any questionable fabricated areas that are going to pull one way or another that'll totally mess the whole system up. So as long as no crazy warpage happens, I take my time and weld these things out, everything should be good. I got 2 hangers positioned, one in the rear and then one by the axle part. I left those off, and when I am ready, except for this rear one I tacked up because it would just flop around. So that is just lightly tacked on. When that is done, I'm gonna pull it off, and I may have to position that again, depending on how the weld pulls, if it pulls at all. I may have to just break the tack. I just have it very lightly tacked, you can see there. So I may just have to break that tack and then move the pipe up or down. same thing. So I'm probably gonna weld this last. I may just leave this on because I want to make sure that up until this point, up until the point of that V-band back there, I want to make sure nothing moves. So you know, I may weld everything except for, you know, these 2 welds here, because those 2 welds can position it this way and position it this way. So just some things how I like kind of mentally process this stuff in my head. Again, none of this may be right. I do have some of my welding friends that do watch this stuff, so obviously don't listen to me. But if you're new and you're looking to learn and stuff like that, some of this stuff is good tips for you. But there's 100 ways to skin a cat. My buddy Ricky and I bounce stuff off each other's heads all the time, and there's stuff that he says that I would never think about that are super simple, just because I have a very complex brain. I'm always overthinking everything, and I'm always like trying to come up with the best way, the best solution, even if it takes a little longer, I guess. But yeah, I do have a history of overcomplicating stuff, so it is what it is. But we're gonna get this shit taken off, and I'm gonna get it welded up, and yeah, we're gonna try to get this thing delivered in like 2 days. So I think realistically, I pretty much have the intercooler piping buttoned up on that side. I just have to run this side out. I just got the notification that the elbow came in for that, and the transition piece I need for the titanium up pipe also just came in. So it is Monday noon. I'm gonna eat my chicken and rice, and I'm gonna weld this stuff up. My chicken and rice. I'm gonna weld the stuff up, and yeah, we're just gonna keep going. This week we got a bunch of J-pipes to do. Next week we have Nick's single exit catback. Unfortunately, Nick's car blew up. So I think he's trying to get that thing done back together with the new engine in it before Boxer Fest. We will see if that happens. But the plan is to attend Boxer Fest with Nick. I'm gonna try to get a small booth set up before then. At Boxer Fest, I will have J-pipes. I will have the single exit that I'm making for Nick's car, and I also should have the newly released fender exits. So that's 3 VBWRX platform products. I do have a couple other ideas in mind. I have a I'm trying to do some more stuff for the VB guys. It's been a pretty responsive community, so I'd like to keep the ball rolling there. Still trying to get some tuners. Trying to get some tuners on board, local tuning shops that maybe deal with a specific type of car or client or clientele that has a problem that they need a fix for, whether that's 3D printing, welding, fabrication, small tooling, whatever that may be. So I'm trying to expand networks and horizons now. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of ideas. I now have no excuse with all the time in the world, so I'm trying to make the best of things. What's going on? So I really was bad about recording everything. I just wanted to get this thing done before my birthday, but here we are. Today is my birthday. Mike's here picking it up. We're about to start it, but I wanted to get a quick sound check. Obviously wanted to show you guys how it all came out. So yeah, it was definitely a pain in the ass, but we made it happen. Here's the 4-inch piece. As some of you guys saw on Instagram, I wrapped it and coated it because it's so close. to the coolant lines. I'll toss a couple of extra pictures up, but it's so close to the engine harness and the coolant lines, obviously you can't do anything about that. So, you know, just try to protect yourself the best you can. I had to extend some of these wastegate lines just because we had to reorient this. And yeah, so we got everything buttoned up here. Flows nice down there.
All right, let's see how it starts.
All right. I was just thinking that. Sounds great. Sick, dude. Well, I don't know what to say. It sounds great. Way better than I had originally anticipated. I was a little nervous with the no muffler thing, but it does sound great. 2J sounds great, straight pipe, but you know, it looks great, fits great. It was definitely a lot of work, but man, I'm proud. It sounds so sick. This is probably the best part about making stuff, is being able to hear it right afterwards. It doesn't always happen that way, but this is nice, dude. This sounds great.